Master, I just heard recording in progress. Well, to go back to the sentence I said, we're trying to these little exercises we do. We're trying to help ourselves to find the center. There are many different descriptions. You put you there, you put the carpet, you create the whole room around. And Mr. Puri was explaining that. You know, the 6 chakras and this kind of elevator you take up to the 6. That is very helpful. We're talking about the same aspect from the different approach. But the way I notice many people have problems with this meditation or looking within through the third eye, which is there where we just explained. It's not right here above the bridge of the nose between the brows or something. This is just representation in that sense, this connection to the center. So many for last year, at least I got, I have a problem with meditations. I do not have experiences. So people speaking about seeing light, or different colors of light. Kirpalson explained that. Which color means what? For example, and I cannot hear the sound. So we're trying to go around that. But the inner vision is not a part of your outer vision. To see inside, you have to close your eyes, so to speak. Some people even put like a little cover or something over their eyes, so there's like a little darkness. They try to, so they really don't have perception. But this is not the perception of two eyes. The eye has to become a single. Unless I become a single, you cannot enter the inner kingdom of God. Rumi speaks about that, and the Bible speaks about that, maybe 100 times or more or something. I'm speaking about Bible because I started to be a priest in Poland. So I studied this little bit for years. So anyway. So we're trying to help each other in that aspect. But this is the great master emphasized, you have to really find that center, and that's what you're going for. True. But this is very natural process. Please understand, this is very natural process. This is process within us. This is not something you have to invent. This is already there. It is so natural and very easy. In fact, the secret is that the more within you go, the more easy it becomes. If you're Van Vargova, and then you go into Satlok, that's most people think this is not attainable. You can't attain that. I mean, it's not possible. And it is possible if you're with the perfect living master. I explained the reason for that is because he has to help you. Metaphorically, he has to take you by a hand to that final, from 15, let's say, to 18 chakra, so to speak. Because your own light, it's not enough. So the master, let's say his light, he can light the way in that sense, so to speak. But we're all the same. I'm not different than you guys. You are not different than me. We are all almost like pre-wired for this. That's why we need the physical form, human form, because the human form is pre-wired for that. And from the human form, you can achieve this goal. That is your goal. Very few people really have that goal to reach to home. They settle for such kind somewhere on the way. especially between these regions of mind or astral region. There's such kinds, whatever you want. But this is not what we're seeking. When we go within, once we go to the astral form, we lose awareness, so to speak, of the physical form. And then when you go within that form, you lose awareness of the astral form, so to speak. Let's call it temporary awareness. If you keep connection between the astral and the physical form, your system, your heart still work on these functions, neural functions within the physical form. And the real source of that is the sound current, is the dynamic, the sound. It enters into all these nerves, so to speak. I'll explain it in a different way. Look at this as the sound, from around the physical form. Like this sound enters the top, and just visualize all these nerves kind of going through every single part of your body. So the sound enters through that and sustain all that. If you withdraw the sound, your body dies, cease to exist, cease to function. So the real source of all of this is a sound, or sound current, or Shabbat. In fact, everything is a Shabbat. All of it. We couldn't ask here, listen to each other, so the source is real Shabbat. So when we speak about this different expression of Shabbat, it's like the sound, different medium, okay? Different medium. Each body it's like a different medium this can travel through. And if it travels through air, you can hear the sound through your physical eyes. But if you're in a vacuum somewhere, space, you won't be able to, because there's no medium, okay? So there's no vibration created, so you cannot hear the sound. But that is not really the truth, because the sound can even be experienced in a vacuum. There's no such a thing as we are taught or taught to believe. Just like with time, there's no such a thing of time. And I have a quote by Mr. Puri. Mr. Puri says, time is still. What is moving is attention. That's Mr. Puri, that's not me. Time is still. Mr. Puri explained, there's no time. This is very hard to understand, because physics will tell you otherwise. Speed of light and all the rest. My point is that the sound, there's always sound, but the real sound is dynamic. And there's a specific place where it originates. And that place is represented in this dera here. Now, to access all these sounds and all of that, you go within. You do not drill a hole here like some monks do. They take a drill and start drilling slowly through the time, drill the hole here to open this. You don't drill the hole, you don't start crushing the pieces of the bone and removing them either, Let me make the disclaimer for this group, for the satsang. This is not what we do. Some monks do this. They have this different opinion, this different things. We're not trying to go back as a baby, 4 months old. What we're trying to do is do as the meditation as a technique to do this. Okay, we're not taking drill and start drilling holes. Please don't do that. I don't say anybody saying that or encouraging. This is not the way. But by the way, some monks will do it, and they will see this clairvoyance and all that. see colors of aura and all that. I said enough. That's a disclaimer. Don't do it. This is not what you want. Clairvoyance is a natural process, and the clairvoyance is once you open this, it's a natural process. You become more aware. Now, as far as the aura go, you all can see the aura. Now, if there's two of you in a house, the simplest way to do it, you can ask one of you to stand in front of the like a neutral wall background kind of. Then you stand in front 2 or so meters or whatever, and then you look at the person, but to look from within in that sense as a faculties, and look 3 feet or 1 meter behind the person. You concentrate not on the person in front of you, but 3 feet is about 1 meter, right? But let's say 1 meter, 3 feet behind that person, and just relax, and just do it that way. But don't do any drilling, okay? If you want to see. So once you start opening this, another thing I notice is that because of the calcification of pineal gland, many people have a problem because of that. And they will say, oh, I'm not successful with meditation, I'm not this, I'm not that, it's difficult. I want to go to a master like Kirpa Singh so he can touch me here and just so I can see the light in the initiations, stuff like that. Well, that's all nice and great. But the problem could be actually on the physical part of the body, in the body. And one of the most detrimental, this may be off the subject, but most detrimental substance is the sodium fluoride. If you give a sodium fluoride to the body in any form, within water, anything like that, the one gland in the body who is going to absorb this right away is your pineal gland. It is number one gland which is going to pull that, into it, and this is going to cause a kind of like a brownish, if you dissect the, physically, kind of brownish calcification around. So that could be a problem. The problem is not necessarily that you're not devoted to meditation, or you don't want to do it, or you don't spend enough time, because time is really not a factor here. The technique may be wrong, or it could be transcendental meditation and doesn't work for you. The problem could be with that. So it's a good way, whoever is going to attend December, to start because this process is in each of us. So let's don't cheat each other in that sense, because there's natural deterioration up to 7 years, all of that, but this is not what I'm talking about. So what is that to use that? What is the name of that? Tamarind, I believe. Tamarind. So what I use personally, it's a tamarind. It's a fruit of the African, in Africa, there's a tree. It's made out of fruit of that. And this is popular in India. In fact, the stuff I have is from India, right? Let me see. Yeah. This is what I use. This is what I use. So this is like a... This looks like this, okay? I'm not doing commercial here. I don't get paid for this. Thank you. It tastes sweet and bitter kind of.
Sweet and sour.
I can just like
a lime.
But this will help decalcify your your pineal gland, your physical pineal gland. There are other substances which attract the metals or heavy metals, like charcoal and others. This is I start using because I'm getting old. I'm 72, according to my doctor.
Not.
Although I'm 62, but he said I am like 72. But that's because of my work I did. I work in a lot of industrial gases and environment, sulfur dioxide, all this. So my body is affected by that. So this may help you. There are other benefits, there's other things you can do. But this has been spoken for thousands of years. You know. This is not something new we're talking about. It's just a lot of this knowledge is lost. Actually, a lot of knowledge through the. You go online right now, and there's like millions of sites, so much information. It's like overwhelming the mind. So much information on the internet. Unfortunately, 90% plus is just wrong information. It's not true. There's a lot of information, but there's to find the truth is that is very rare. And there's so much misinformation even on spiritual path. Tremendous. If you go to any site, you start listening. I don't want to give names because I'm at the point I cannot even listen to some of gurus. I'm not speaking about some gurus. I'm speaking some other gurus. I can't just listen to it. It's just, but there's so much information and so much what they tell you. You have to be this. You have to be that. It's not true. So what do? Just people go to all these occult schools, trying to get these occult initiations. I study all that. Occult library, Blavatsky, and all this, you name it. All this yogi system, so forth. I was spent in that library in Wheaton, right? In Illinois. Wheaton, they had a huge library with books, all these old shelves and all these books at the time. I also, but beside that, I also spent a lot of time in Rajendra Singh, when he had this original kind of like from old church building, Science of Spirituality, SOS. So they had a very nice library. I was sitting in that library. You go walk in, take your shoes off and stuff. I was sitting in that library and read all these books. Of course, in books in English, I could not read Sanskrit or any other languages. So that was a great help for me. At the time, there were not many people, so you could literally have a dinner with Rajendra Singh and sit there. They had like a langar and they had the diarrhea. You could see, he will come in with his wife. You could really interact, kind of like very small community. The Rajendra Singh as master. And it was pretty fascinating. They had like all these portraits. A great master, Darshan Singh, Kirpa Singh Darshan Singh, Rajendra Singh became. He was the engineer, actually. I spoke to him in person at the time. Grace was there too, right? Yes. Did you speak with him now? You didn't ask him.
You went
Grace.
to talk to him.
But so I gave him a question. I remember. He's like sitting in front and I gave him a question, what is the truth? I asked him. And this is very significant because on our website, we are seekers of truth, ultimate truth. We have those 4 principles. where Sikh is about to mature, but this was like 20, 25 years ago. Because I was initiated in the different path and so forth for 10 years for the different, call it guru.
Oh,
Who was that?
I must Reg, she's just joining us.
Raj is here?
Yes. I can
Yes,
see.
Cezary, yeah.
Oh, wow. Welcome, Raj.
Happy Bhandara
Happy
Day.
Bhandara.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
So,
I remembered now, and then I remembered, and then I opened the Zoom now.
you know what they
So-
say, better late than never.
Yeah.
So
So,
how was your Bhandara? How was
oh, it was
your
in
house?
Fresno. It was in Fresno.
Fresno? Oh, you went there?
Yeah, because in my house I have a little place, not more. I managed that it should be like 15 people, but it was more. So in Fresno, there is a Radha Swami Vyasa ashram, and I got a place over there. And the people
Uh-huh.
came from San Diego, San Francisco, from Canada too. And it was good. It's a master's grace. So I
So,
came in the evening. And it's a 2
you-
hours drive.
Yeah.
that's not that far from
2
you. It was
hours.
about 2 hours drive or 100
Yeah.
something. 2 hours drive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
So in there, some people, the sevadar of that ashram, they cook the food and everything.
So, who was the
So-
speaker?
Jagannath.
Jagannath? Okay.
Yeah.
Jagannath Karai was
Sometimes
the speaker.
it's a Prem, Prem, who was making toast and frying some bread in the Bhandaras. Prem and Vishesh, Indian guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about. I believe I do. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
he does the satsang over there too. He did
Oh.
that. Yeah, Jagannath was like little. The people knew him. So, and very, very nice. It was very good Bhandaras, and everybody came over there. And maybe next time we all will gather. You too, you will be invited to. Yeah.
If I'm
The
still
birthday of
kicking, I'm still around.
what?
But I'm going back to my cave for about 3 months or so.
But we still got.
We're still gonna have a Bhandara, but
Satsang.
I'm kind of, I have to take some exams. I have to study
Yeah.
for about
We
3
will
months.
celebrate Master's birthday, Hazur's birthday in July.
In July 20, yes.
Yeah, 20. You remember it.
Yeah,
So
July,
why some say July 27th?
we
Some
could,
say July 20.
Yeah,
and
but it was a long discussion in a book too. Later,
Yeah.
Hazur said, it's the 29th.
Oh,
He said, okay, it's the 29th.
look what I have here.
Yeah, sweet, so sweet.
We just had little few exercises. You missed
When did you start? How long this started today?
6 o'clock. So we just had a few exercises, spiritual exercises, trying to help us to find the center.
Oh, yeah.
where
Okay,
to
okay, good,
meditate.
good.
So,
Good.
but these are not techniques really spoken generally at satsangs and santmat. These are more kind of different approach.
Oh, okay.
Which-
I called George, and Wendy was talking to me, telling about you. You are like 2 hours far from her.
How he's
Wendy
doing?
and George. Wendy and George,
Where are they now? Still
they are
here?
sick. Yeah, they are
Yeah,
in.
George is sick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's in a hospital, and Wendy talks to me. He
Yeah, but
cannot.
when in Mayo Clinic here in Phoenix, or where is he now?
Phoenix.
Yeah, that's about 2 hours from us.
Yeah.
So how is he dealing with his cancer?
She said he's sleeping, he doesn't attend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, in February 2020,
Yeah.
in February 2020, Mr. Puri had a satsang in Harper College.
I think when Ishwar came here, he went to George House too, when he
Yeah.
was in California.
No, but at the time, I saw George and Wendy, they were sitting in the Harper College,
Oh, yeah.
those seats on
Yeah.
the right side. And I went to George and Wendy, and I told him, George,
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of changes. Prepare yourself. I told them quite a few things at the time. And one of the questions they asked me, is this going to be changes just outside or within the sun god? So I spoke to them about that. And that was a long time, you know, at the time.
Everybody
And
knows
look what
you.
happened. And look what happened.
Yeah, everybody
Also,
knows you. Everybody knows you. Peter
everybody
from
knows me.
Yeah, and Peter, you know Peter Rayburn. Peter
Yeah.
Rayburn, he came from MC too. He's
Yeah.
here. He's staying in a hotel. Yeah.
But I told George when to prepare yourself at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And that was people waiting kind of, they were saying for interviews. There were still interviews going on, I believe. Mr. Puri had the interviews in Harper College after the satsang.
Yeah.
But now with Don, me and Grace was like a second day after Don passed away, because we knew he's going to pass away. In that sense, Grace, we felt it. I felt it.
Then he was sick already.
Because he was sick. I also got some information from Diane about that Don is sick and so.
Oh yeah, yes. And tomorrow you are starting again 6 o'clock tomorrow.
No, we just have a one day.
One day.
Only today,
Bhandara.
not tomorrow.
Yes.
Not tomorrow.
So there's everybody having Bhandara everywhere.
Yes, really.
Yeah.
I have like 11 emails for the same day today. Invitation.
So we're sitting here and we're talking about Don. Because when we went in July 2020, we've been there like 3 days at the Mr. Puri house, so to speak, you know, because I was picking up the car, the limousine. And something happened there, and that was done. So I said, okay. But like the next day after he died, we're talking about Don, and a flower of the table here by the window just fell down. And we just start talking about Don. And I said, Don. So I start talking, Don. Okay.
We love you.
We love you, and
yeah.
we forgive you.
He is always smiling.
I really forgive you, you know.
Always smiling. Yes, he's always smiling.
It was.
He did a lot of seva.
Yeah, he was driving the limousine. We went to a master house once for invitation with Toshi and Master, and then he was the driver.
Sorry, I need some sugar. Okay, sorry about that.
The limousine.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. Toshi, she was sitting on the one side inside of the limousine with me, and Master Ishwar Puri with Cezary on the other side. and and
Yeah.
down he was starting the limousine, and it was a little bit of rain outside in the Illinois at the time, and he could not close
Start playing with
the windows, and the
Oh,
window on the roof he opened, and the rain started to go through of us, and because there was a window between the seat of the driver and us in the back, and it was closed, so Toshi, she opened the window and she said, "Don, please
sky
close the sky, the roof."
Well, you know,
Toshi,
this is a 1988 limousine Lincoln, and Mr. Puri must have bought this for Toshi. But at one point he offered that he can buy the newer limousine, but she said no. And Toshi will not allow people to ride in this limousine. Her daughter only like once for the wedding, right?
Yeah, for the wedding.
So she was very
shopping,
And when the Gurinder Singh Dillon came to see them, he came to Chicago.
Excuse me, I am attending the call.
Okay.
Hello.
She's attending the call.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Rosie, दरवाजा खोली.
So.
Yeah. दरवाजा खोली. Yeah. So some people came over here, and I want to leave now.
Okay.
And some people are coming here for dinner. So then I will join again.
Good to see you, Radha Swami.
Radha Swami. Thank you, Radha Swami. I will join again. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. So anyway, we finished that.
The limousine. So when current master from Dera Vyas came to see them in Chicago, Toshi and Mr. Puri, so he was right in this limousine too. Beside, I counted 5 masters. So Toshi she didn't want to sell this car, or she would not allow anyone to ride in the car, that sense. But when we went to see them at the house in Barrington, after reception, we stay at the house. So Toshi will prepare all this, because she preferred to be at the house. I think she was very sick at that time with cancer.
Yes, already very sick.
But she still prepare all this tea and so forth and so forth. So we have a lot of pictures, actually made by Toshi, with this old type camera, film camera. But after that, we went to this Chinese restaurant. So I drove this like a rental, I think SUV or something. But Toshi said no. She called Don to bring the limousine. So now Don is pulling the master's limousine, and we go into that restaurant. So in the back of this limousine, the limousine is like 22 feet long, I think. So in the back, it is a whole room, literally like the seats and everything. So Master Grace and Toshi sitting, and Master and I are sitting. He's on my left, and I'm on the right in the back seat. So we will drive this limousine to the restaurant, and then he will come back to pick us up after that. But I start counting all the masters, because Toshi, the Gurinder Singh, he said that he wants the limousine like that. He told them, I want a limousine like that. And master told me, Cezary, if you let them that you have this limousine, how does
They would like to buy.
they will pay you good money for this car, he said something like that. If you want to sell it, they will. If they find out you have this car, right? The point I'm trying to make. So now we ride in this limousine, and I'm start counting all the masters who rode this limousine. 2 masters from Toshi side, and great master, Gurundasen, Mr. Puri. I mean, so this is the master's limousine, literally master's limousine. Later it happened, we wind up to have that limousine. Master Prashad, call it Prashad. So situations like that. So I have this limousine, Pranay saw it, right?
Yes, Cezary. From the, yeah.
I'm still working, replacing some tanks on it. So next time we may be able to take a ride inside.
Around the house.
Around the house or something.
I thought you were going to
But
fix the Jaguar too.
Well, that's
Yeah,
that can wait.
I'm just a guy with one hand, or 2 hands. So I told Grace, Grace, everybody, they're all trying to build deras outside somewhere. Dera here, dera over there, I said, why don't we just have a dera? Make this limousine a dera. We just park, and we said, this is dera. Dera. Instead of here, we have another one too. Just not here, but here. But then I was thinking, imagine to have interviews in there inside. It'll be like, because when you sit out inside, and I do, only I and Grace so far were able to sit. I'm very selfish, put it that way. But I said to Grace, half hour sitting, 15 minutes sitting, you're so charged up, like, you'll be meditating for 100 years because of this. It's like, it's an animate object, but scary, all these vibrations, this energy, the spiritual energy, from the masters. I mean, Gurinder Singh was riding in the Chicago, everywhere, so forth, in this limousine, that itself, but also was Mr. Puri, my master. And everywhere Mr. Puri went, so was the great master. And everywhere Toshi went, it was St. Jagat Singh and St. Charan Singh. They always went with Toshi in that sense. So that's already like, 5 masters, or say. Yeah, because you need to understand that great master was always present with Mr. Puri. In fact, Mr. Puri said that he was sitting on his shoulders. The great master was kind of, If funny part is that every time on the airport he went through when he will go to the detector, like metal detector on the airport, they will start ringing or showing something here, ringing detector, and they were like, "Look, Mr. Puri, this is not even here," but they didn't know it was the great master. Master told us the story himself. So things like that. So every time you were with Mr. Puri, there was always great master present. And in fact, we had a situation, we could actually listen to the great master satsang. One of those was in India. We attended great master satsang. Hazur Baba Sawan Singh, yes. And now, not before for 1948. And the interesting part is, I later was, me and Grace, we were at the family house in Chicago. I remember Mr. Puri was sitting, I was sitting like here, he was sitting, like, and so, you know, privately, spend time. I said to him about that satsang in India, because this was after we came back to the States and he came back. He flew to Dubai and then to London, I believe, back. And he was so happy looking at me. And I started talking about him about that. And he said, please understand that these are different states of consciousness. So he was happy. Remember? I mean, he really like, so situations like that, we had the privilege of being in that kind of environment and witness, literally witness, not in a dream or somebody told me, actually witness physically many things which otherwise we will never have opportunity. So I've been very fortunate in that. In Grace, we were speaking about that today. We're trying to not to let these things to drift away, kind of drift away. Because life goes on and Master is not here, not in physical form, no matter what anybody think or say in that sense. So we're trying to preserve this. It's not a memory because this is real. For us, this is very real. Trying to preserve somehow on this little island here at the house, here in Sedona, for as long as we're kicking around. So we're probably gonna end this Bhandara. By the way, Great Master said that there's many misunderstandings. He will explain some of this misunderstanding in India. And I know someone who is listening to this satsang on YouTube, they will probably think, what is this guy talking about? Is that even possible? No, that's not possible, they will say. Let me tell you that nothing is not impossible when you're with the Master. Doesn't matter what anybody thinks, nothing. What you think is impossible, it's possible. You just have to be with the Master in that environment. Things will happen naturally. When I was with him, Grace, we were with him. There was always Great Master present. But at the time, there were times I would be sitting across the table with him, let's say having lunch or something, and he will look at me, and I will look at him. And we're just sitting and looking at each other. And I would just nod my head. And he would just look at me and smile and nod his head, you know. And that was the conversation. 1,000 words in a second. We didn't even, there was a point we did not even have to speak verbally, literally. I would just look at him, he would just look at me, and he would just nod his head, yeah. And I would do the same. That was the conversation. Incredible, incredible process. And this, I'm not speaking about telepathy or anything like that. Telepathy is still very limited. It's a kind of mind. I'm literally, I'll leave it at that. Oh, does anyone has any question? Raj kind of, she came in and then she left. So now we like kind of back to the beginning after the break. If does anyone has any question, please you can ask. Or if not, I have some questions, but I'm not sure I want to get into these questions today. Not at the Bhandara. So that maybe have to wait to next satsang. And that will be the proper way to do it. This is a very small group. Raj was saying they attended the Bhandara in, what was the place? Anywhere, I forgot even the name. I know it's like 105. It's 105 miles north. I thought she will have a Bhandara at her house. I'm kind of surprised that they went there. But who am I to say? I thought she said she's gonna have it at her house. I have nothing to. I have personal not connection with what they do. And as of last Bhandara, I was kind of holding on to see what's happening, but as of last satsang, I just have no connection with what the organization does. Like really, no. I do not even follow what they say or what they do anymore. And I have my own personal reasons for that. We are all one family, but I'm just not a part of that, what they're doing. And I could never be able to be a part of it in that sense. So anything we do organizes here with this small group, or if it comes down to that, it's just me and Grace. It will be just me and Grace. They want some. We have a prashad. We can share this prashad with you. This is, blessed by Mr. Puri. In fact, last Bhandara, we had Mr. Puri's Bhandara.
Still waiting for the.
We had the prashad, and some of these are waiting for Nick and Lina, right?
Yeah.
But you have to come over here to pick it up. But we had some prashad today here. Yeah. I have a full refrigerator full of prashad, and so we've been sharing the real prashad. This is not like a one mixed with 100, but the real prashad, blessed by Mr. Puri. I said the story about that he will have a prashad like this in California, and I will go for prashad. There was the line. I usually went as one of the last ones. That was in Huntington Beach area somewhere.
Yes.
So he will have like a workshop, little workshop, Northern California, Southern California. So I would go for prasad, and he'll like a basket. Then he will take one prasad, and I will get the prasad, and then he will, I don't know how else, but he will just like, we had to open this ziplock before he gave me. There's no other explanation. But what happened, I'm taking this prasad from him, and all is fall on the floor, right in front of him, of the master, like all over the prasad, half of it like a bag. And I feel so I said, oh my gosh. And you have 100 people around or so looking at you, like standing, everybody's looking what's happening. And I have all this satsangis and people looking at me. What a situation. And I'm looking at him. And he's like this shiny eyes looking at me and kind of smiling, like, oh, okay. Like, so now instead of like half a minute, because at the time you could go and have like a mini interview, micro interview, you could ask master actually something. People who went for prasad, they could ask him a question, you can come closer to him in that sense. And I'm just like, this half into minute, it became like 5%. Now I have to pick all this up. I'm so kind of not ashamed, but stressed out. I'm really. There comes Cezary, and when I went for prasad, every time, because always something always happened, right? Someone will pull me away from the master, president, Visha, or some things like that. So when I go into mass, they were like, "Look, what is going to happen now?" So I'm look like a fool, like total fool. I cannot even take a prasad properly from the master himself. So he's sitting on the planet. I'm looking at me, and I'm picking all this up. Guess you can help
I
me.
run to help.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I think Hitesh helped. The other satsangi Hitesh helped too.
Claudia
Claudia
Yeah.
Kazmierczyk. Yeah. But so I got all
We
this
pick up
together and
everyone.
we went. So I'm the full of the afternoon in that sense. This guy can even don't know how to take prasad properly from the master. But later on, I was with him, and he would explain to me what happened. Because I felt so clumsy. I'm so clumsy. I mean, like, but he would explain to me what really happened. And what he said then is what I'm doing now. He told me then what this meant. That was like 4 years ago. When was that? 2018?
Mm-hmm.
So he will tell me then what's going to happen years in the future in that sense. And this was a part of it. And he will explain me how that was a part of it. What of each of these men? Who are each of these and stuff? He would tell me. And I was like, whoa. I was, because I had the interview with him. We had the interview the same day, I think, over there. And then he will explain me a lot of other things, in situations like that. So sometimes we are like a laugh stock of everybody else. People will laugh at you, and they don't even understand what the blessing was. This was one of the greatest blessings I could receive from the master, because it also dealt with karma. So masters can really work in mysterious ways. Don't underestimate the master. I learned, do not underestimate the master ever. These little situations, sometimes you may feel like a fool. I mean, the person, like in my case, I could feel like a fool. I didn't feel like a fool. All I know, instead of half a minute or something, I got like 5 minutes maybe right in front of the master. So who is the loser, right? I might be the livestock of everybody else, but I wasn't surely not the loser, not surely what he told me after that. And then I saw this happen to one more satsangi. I will not name that satsangi. It was a woman. She also, I said, well, you are very blessed. Because she was, what do you mean I'm blessed? I'm blessed. I didn't explain to her from the karmic point of view what's going on really here. We need to understand that even the karma between satsangis, in other words, like between me and Pranay, or either one of you in that sense, you here, so there's a karmic relation here. So it's when you're with the master. These are not accidents. You could be in Fresno or somewhere like day, but you are not. And there's very specific reason for that. And there are also specific reasons why I'm not connected in any way with organization, Isha organization. I am not. And I cannot be. This being already arranged. That's not my choice in that sense. It's master choice, my master's choice. He will make those arrangements when he was alive. But I would like to also point out that all this karma also, we like to blame the karma on someone, some other source or someone else. We go to the master or take away this karma, do this and that. You need to, we all become aware of the Sachkhand, so to speak, that it's all you're doing, it's all arranged by you. All of it, all this karma. There are reasons always for everything. Even Pranay, he was planning to come over here. For one reason or another, but because of what I'm going through right now, I asked him to postpone this to later on this year. And this is not because the reasons for that are different. And I know those reasons. But someone else may have different understanding. Czy on jest na internecie jeszcze nie? No. So the reasons for that are different. There's always a reason between this relation between us as a satsangis. But also I would like to point out that can you still listen? Can you hear me, Pranay? I'm getting some message here. Pranay.
Yes, Cezary, you can hear.
You can hear me because I'm getting this message about the audio on my computer.
Oh no, we can hear you.
About settings. I'm just gonna.
This is all the time. All this time.
This not to pay attention to it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got rid of it. What I'm trying to say that the karmic relations between the satsangis, even the initiates, there's also karmic relation here, and this have to be somehow addressed, just like in this case, in my case, in that sense. Because when we speak about these karmic relations or karma, we usually think about people around us, maybe family, but we do not take into account that these are karmic relations between the satsangis. For example, like Raj said, she went to attend I suppose, Bhandara, Great Master they had in Fresno, California. whoever was there, or whoever was speaking or not speaking, I mean, these are all karmic relations.
And just right.
Yeah. And this relation should be addressed. Normally, master should take care of that when he's alive with you. But there's also groups within the sun god. And those relations, they will continue in those separate groups. So you may have one group in Fresno, you may have one group in Canada somewhere, and you may have some other group. I personally am not connected, me and Grace, with any of these groups. I mean, like zero. As of last satsang, even not even in any form in that sense. But we all brothers and sisters. So someone may kind of go between one group and the other, or be part of all of these groups, kind of a jumper satsangi, you know. Or they would say, well, I will join your satsang, but they would never come into the satsang. Or they would say this and that, or they would send me email, while you're repeating yourself, and why don't you try to convince me of this or that, or I understand, I'm listening to you. Am I not? I get those letters like that too. My answer to that is Mr. Puri was also, they say, repeating himself, so I'm in a good company. And my answer to that was, I will be repeating myself. Not because of my ego, I'm trying to convince anyone of anything. I really don't. I spoke to Grace today and yesterday, and I told her, there's no way I will be doing this unless I'm doing only for the master. There's no power to keep me here otherwise. I told Grace, you know, Grace, no matter what I say, it will not be, people will not understand. This is impossible. I came to, after 1 year or a few months, to conclusion that it is impossible to convey anything to anyone. And that is the truth. From spiritual point of view, you or I will never be able to convince anyone of anything. And if you look this karmic relation from a little bit above, you will see that's not possible. We all sitting here have an individual karma. This can never be changed. Each of us, each of you will live that specific karma. Mr. Puri did address that. So I agree with my master. Not because of what he said, but because I learned myself. I've been trying to convey some concepts, and I will get, what are you talking about? Mr. Puri was not talking about this. Where are you getting this stuff? Well, my answer to that is, go and complain to Mr. Puri. And if you don't know how to go within, and go to see Mr. Puri and complain to him, I will take you by the hand and go with you. First, we probably stop in front of the Yama. I'll say complain to this, to him. You know the Yama, he's looking like the pharaoh, only 50 feet high on the throne, like a pharaoh throne, with the exception that his face is your face. So I will take you there first. Complain to him. You know, there's the story about this guy, you know, dying, and people try to describe this regions, what happened when you die and stuff like that. Everybody has a different story. But I like this this one explanation, and I'm going to try to keep short, because this person, you know, he dies and he go into this afterworld, in astral world, and usually people are talking about this judgment and Lord Yama or Dharam Raj and all these things. But anyway, so he goes in. And he take the left, and this whole area there is like, if you ever been to Egypt and see the Egyptian temple, Osiris, or some temple with the pillars and all that, with exception that this is kind of like a grayish, you know. So he goes in, he goes to the left, and he keeps going to this hallway, like this huge temple, palazzo, and then he goes to the right, and there's this huge throne. And by the way, there's nothing he can do about. Nothing he can do about it. You can cry, you can plead, whatever. It ain't gonna work. So he's standing of this being there, Jock, you know. He's saying, and he looks like Pharaoh, little like those pharaohs, pharaoh kings, but he's huge. So he's looking at this part of the judgment, you know, your karma. But one interesting in fact is that he looks totally like a pharaoh with everything else except the face. And the one standing, and the face on the pharaoh is the face of one standing in front of him. To make the story short, this is the judgment before the next life. And this is very interesting because the face, this whole why the pharaoh doesn't look like this Akhenaten or somebody, right? But it look like you, the face, except the other features. So this is very interesting. I found this story very interesting. There's some principle here. Who is the accused and who is the judge and all of that. This is actual story of someone who died, literally. And he's a Polish guy, actually. It's not me, by the way. I'm Polish, but it's not my story. I don't need this stuff. I'm trying to convey the principle here. The principle of the karma is that you are the one. You originated all this. It's all you, and it's all your creation, including karma, but not in the state of awareness. So when I ask Guruji, do we have a free choice or not? Most people will be silent because they say, oh, Mr. Puri said, no, we do not have a choice, right? We do not, everything is permitted. But Mr. Puri also said that we do. The question to that, we do. But not as you standing in front of that 15-meter high or 50 feet high pharaoh in front of you with your face and all the ornaments, like the pharaohs are. Neither he is outside of karma, you know. This pharaoh standing in front of it. And let me, but this originate from within you. The pharaoh and you and all these karmic relations and the whole story, but from the different state of, Mr. Puri explained that he refers to such kind. And he speaks about that one of his talks. And he explained all this, the individuality of the soul at the time and then merging into self-original life. There's a talk like that by Mr. Puri. So I'm kind of referring to that. But the one thing interesting at that when you're in front of that judge of karma, so to speak, or Yamadud, or whatever you want to call it, Dharamraj or whatever, Jotnaranjan, you have no choice. What that Pharaoh says, there's no questioning. Where you go, where you are born, what form you are born, and none of that. That is a very interesting aspect. You have nothing, zero to say. And this judge, so to speak, if you want to call it, has your face. Mr. Puri will explain that you can only choose if you have a good karma or bad karma, go to heaven or hell. Are you gonna go? He will ask, who wants to go to hell first and then to heaven and stuff like that. So most of people will choose hell probably, because otherwise it will be so spoiled if you in heaven and still have that. You gotta go to hell. I would like to explain something else in this, that when you go within, once you get to the point that you can find yourself and you can cross this gate, go within. Narrow is the path and straight is the way. So when you go straight through it. You do not turn left. You do not turn right. No matter what you see, you will see these rishis, and then you will see this scary stuff. Maybe, this is an important part. But when you're with the master, you're safe in that aspect, because you establish the radiant form of the master. And so now let's reverse. We spoke about this pharaoh, this judge, and someone who is going not initiated in Saint Mat without the master in that sense. Now let's say you're with the master. In that case, master in the radiant form. Do you have to go in front of that Dharamraj or whatever? According to Sochab Yoga, according to Mr. Puri, he takes over that. The master takes over that. Now, my understanding is that I was initiated by Mr. Puri as my perfect living master, and my connection is with him and the great master. That was explained to me by Mr. Puri. So my awareness is from that perspective. So when I speak about these things, I'm speaking from that perspective. And also speaking from the perspective of what my master, your master explains in his talk, publicly and privately, or in Anatomy of Consciousness. He will explain that. He will explain the karma, for example. He will say these three types of karma: Senchit, Pralap, and Kariman or Kriyaman. I hear different pronunciations. These three types of karma. Now, if you listen to some other master, in Sant Mat, he will say that, for example, Gurinder Singh Abhyas, currently, he will say that master cannot do anything with your karma. He says that publicly. This is not like just. And also, they saying that when you die, master is not going to meet you. Now, in our perspective, this is what we really hope for and count on, that when you die, master is going to actually meet you, right? You don't want to be just alone. We also count on, I am all responsible for my karma. There's nothing, no, Gurinder Sahib said, there's no perfect master who can do anything about. I mean, these are very strong statements. And these are statements from current worldwide, I call him once perfect living master. These are statements from the living master who is a worldwide master for Sant Mat in that sense, outside, beside the Gurinder Sen. So these are not statements very likely taken. Now, our master, Mr. Puri, my master, he was saying that these karmic relations can be readjusted by the perfect living master. So in this sense, we have two contradictions right now as we speak. He will also say that master is going to meet you, when you leave physical form. This transfer from physical form to the etheric form and to the astral form. And these are the currents, these currents through all these nerves. There's nerves going to every single part of your body. So once these currents are withdrawn, the sun current, you understand everything is a sound current. This is not necessarily audible sound current, not the varanatmic. We're speaking about the dunatmic. So when this is withdrawn from your body to this point, and this is and then from you lose awareness, and from this point, the body dies. This is the process of dying. And this is process similar to each of us. And that's going to happen for sure. No matter what you say or I say, what we promise or not promise, we're all going to die. I'm not trying to be negative, because there's not really dying. This is just a physical body dying. So how do we go about? I mean, these are some serious contradictions, and this is Sant Mat. This is so. When I speak at this satsangs, and this, some people may agree with that, or some people may not agree with that. I am speaking from my experience. This may not be your experience, my understanding, but I also, you can question this or not, it doesn't matter. I have his permission to do this. I don't have to ask for permission. What do I say or what do I not say? My master already took care of that. And he trusted me with this. Because ultimately we always say, well, what do I say? What this or that? The mind will always have questions, but there's regions within when you come over to that in understanding, which takes all that away. And what I'm speaking about, I don't want to go more into it, but the Grace was present, so she knows. Grace actually knows master instructions because she was right there, physically, not in the spirit, but physically, when he was doing this. So you may like it what I say, or you may don't. Maybe you say that, what is this guy talking about? Please understand that I'm talking from that aspect. So now going back to Vyas, what is the Moj? The Moj is always what the current master says. St. Jalma Sen had a little hut by River Vyas, and he wasn't planning to have a big dera there. He wasn't like for it. But great master, Hazur Baba Sawan Singh, came over, and he was still working after 1903. And Agra, I believe he started, he retired in 1911, I believe so. Then he started this dera of Jalma Sen. And Jalma Sen was already his body died for so many years. But in the meantime, Great Master was still working on the Agra. Prana, I know these things, Chachaji and all that, you know, how from Swamiji went to the Rari Saligram and then to 3 others. So, but please understand, even Great Master in that time was still, he was doing initiations under that arrangement. When he started the Bias, he was the master. So he started building the Dera. He was the master, that was his Moch. What I'm trying to explain is that the Moch is always with the present perfect living master in that sense. And so it is now. So it is now, that's always the case. In Mr. Puri's case, because of in that lineage, from the Swamiji to Great Master, Hazur Baba Sawan Singh, this kind of divides in 3, so to speak. To me, the first one is from Swamiji to Sanjama Singh to the Great Master, Hazur Baba Sawan Singh, and to the Mr. Puri. I'm speaking about Namdan and Moj. And from Mr. Puri goes to the person who shared the same consciousness. In other words, that person after Mr. Puri is one and the same with Mr. Puri and the Great Master. No matter what, no matter how they look, no matter if they're man or woman, tall, they look European, or they look African, or they look from India, doesn't matter. That's not what I'm speaking about. I'm speaking the Namdan. The other, I'm not trying to go to 100 of these and 500 masters. The other one is Swamiji of Agra, the Jalma Singh, Great Master, Jagat Singh, Charan Singh, and now you have a Sangurinder Singh, Dillon, and Bias. The third one will be in that line, kind of from Swamiji of Agra to Jalma Singh, then to the Great Master, Hazur Baba Sawan Singh, then you have a Kirpal Singh, then you have a Darshan Singh, then you have a Rajendra Singh. I hope I got that right. And so so in this satsang, I am concerned as Cezary in the satsangs with lying to Mr. Puri and continuation from Mr. Puri. I'm speaking from that aspect. Of course, I have a high regards and respect to all these other masters. I have the highest respect to Gurinder Singh from Bias, and I have highest respect to the present master Rajendra Singh. Science of Spirituality. They're basically in US. Gurinder Singh is mostly in Bias. So I have a respect to all these masters, and all these masters, I spoke to Mr. Puri about many masters. Because this is like, I want to know, no matter what. But Mr. Puri will never speak openly about these things. So I was always interested in this. But please understand that although I respect the Rajendra Singh and Gurinder Singh Dillon, because the master respected them. There are many people initiated by these two masters, closest people to Mr. Puri and to me. so to speak. And Raj knows some of that because she spoke to Grace about, and Grace says, yes, we know that, right? But I don't want to bring this conversation because unless she is here, who this has to do with about what is this about? In this case, we're speaking about Raj Anderson. So I'm talking from that perspective. Now, from that perspective, my master is Mr. Puri, and always will be. And your master is always the one who initiated you. Unless you have to come back and then you have to be initiated again. In my case, that master is Mr. Puri, and he proved it to me. I respect all these other masters, including, for example, Kirpal Singh, and I know his real story, why he left the Bias and all that, which probably none of you do know that story. You probably never will, in that sense. I know that from my master. So this is where I come to the satsang personally. I speak from my experience and what I witnessed and what I was taught by Mr. Puri. So in that sense, the process of dying or reincarnation may be a little bit different, as far as I explained. I'm trying to clear this up. For those who do not agree with me one way or the other, it's not about, nobody has to agree what I say. No one has to, I'm doing this for my master, purely. I'm doing this for myself, simply because of that. It's not about how many people is gonna attend the satsang, or it's gonna be 10 people, 5 people, 20 people, or 50 people. It's not about the number. This path was never about the number. This is something Kirpal Singh explained. So although from the great master, this lineage and that lineage and this lineage, I'm speaking from a lineage of Swamiji, Sanjalma Sen, Great Master, Mr. Puri, and whoever is doing this after Mr. Puri left his physical form. That's how I look at it. There may be other groups and Ruhani Satsangs and all that, science of spirituality and all these different groups. I'm not concerned about that, personally. And all these masters, they cannot do anything for you. Let me point this out. Once the master left physical form, you know, it's nice to read the book, this and that. It's to claim the Moj or this or that. Even the Sangha is divided now in that sense. You have one in India, one in the US, one in Canada, and 2 more. I won't even talk about that in this satsang anymore. We are all brothers and sisters, but let me make this very, very straight, like it or not. The current Moj is with the current master. And it's always been like that in Sutsha Yoga and Santmat. That's why some people, they are attracted, let's say, to Bias. Some people will go to Bias and they say, no, it's not for me, or this master is, this master is no, they will go to Rajendra Singh, well, this may work for me, this may not work for me. I was with Rajendra Singh in that sense. I never asked him for initiation. I didn't feel that pull from him as a master at the time. I did not ask for initiation, and I could go to that process with him, but I just didn't feel it. Some people may have a pull to somebody living in a cave somewhere, you know, in that sense. But there's always someone somewhere. Mr. Puri was speaking no more than 8. I kind of recall something like that he was talking about. But there could be a master, depends on the situation. One more thing I would like to explain, because this is misunderstood, that the spirituality is moving from east to the west, or to America. In my understanding, this doesn't mean that spirituality left India or something like that. Moving west simply means this is where the feet of the master will be. And in my understanding was when Mr. Puri was alive, we're talking about Mr. Puri. My understanding is that spirituality, I mean, what the great master said in the letter to Satsangi, my understanding was at the time, I at one point I understood that means that there will be a master in America. In that case, in Midwest. That's what the moving spirituality to America meant. When Mr. Puri said that he left India, came to America to witness that process, because he wanted to see the show. He says, I wanted to see, witness the show. Please understanding that the show, all that was Mr. Puri. This is always one-man show. And that one-man show is the master, is the perfect living master in that area, so to speak. And that was Mr. Puri. So he was the one. So but he also said, I am not the master. He never claimed that. So he will say, well, I came to America to witness that. But the holy ground, so to speak, it's not the building, it's not anything else. It's look at this as the feet of the master, where the ground he walks on, where he resides. That is the center of spirituality, has always been. Now the question now is, where is the center of spirituality now? Mr. Puri already left physical form. So where is the center of spirituality? Now you can answer this question yourself. We just said that the center of spirituality is where the current master is. So next question, where is the current master? There are so many people that are claiming they're masters. 3 weeks after Mr. Puri passed away, they start claiming that. I can count 5 at least, probably. They coming up still making claims. And they're all over the world. They're in US, they're in Canada, they're in Europe, they're in Asia. Everywhere there's a successor of Mr. Puri. So where is the center of spirituality in the line? Swamiji Jama Sen, Great Master, Mr. Puri, where is the center of spirituality in that line? It's a very good question. We all have to answer this question ourselves. Is it in Chicago? Is it in Bruce? Is it in California or London or Singapore? Or 2-hour drive or 2.5-hour drive from Toronto? Where is it? Who is it? I can tell you one thing, there's no one who make that claim. Anybody who make that claim that I'm successor, or Mr. Puri speaking through me, this is not how it works. And this is what Master explained to me in Grace, that this is gonna be his kind of, he was speaking about 3 at the time, correct? But now we probably have more than that. Unless there's some questions, I would like to end the satsang and this Bhandara. Radha Swami.
Radha Swami.
No questions?
No, if anyone has questions, I mean, Nick, Lena, Gerald, Sarvanan, Petteri, and Shamik.
Gunjo, he said he gave us a message, he had to leave. Some family situation, you know.
Noted, Cezary ji.
Okay, Radha Swami, thank you everyone for attending.
Radha Swami.
That's funny.